Complex News, I'm Natasha Martinez. When Finding Neverland first premiered at this year's Sundance Film Festival, healthcare professionals were on deck should any audience members need help dealing with the explicitly detailed stories about Michael Jackson's alleged history of sexual abuse against minors. Known for being perhaps the most iconic figure in music long after his death in 2009, Michael was beloved throughout the world despite the trials and charges made against him, which he ultimately was found not guilty for. This past Sunday and Monday, HBO aired the two-part docu-series detailing the experiences of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, two of Michael's alleged victims in the 80s and 90s. Over 2 nights and 4 hours, Safechuck and Robson told their stories of the years of grooming, abuse, and ultimately preparation to defend Michael should they get caught. Robson had testified under oath in the past that Michael was innocent. The docu-series has been sparking split reactions from the public since its airing. The film's title on its IMDb page was once changed to Liar Liar 2, the Wade Robson and Jimmy Safechuck story. Others are urging supporters of Michael to believe the victims. Much like Lifetime's docu-series Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland shows the dark side that many people don't want to see about their once idols. That being said, here's everything you need to know about both nights of Leaving Neverland. Michael's alleged grooming started early on. Both Robson and Safechuck shared similar stories of how they each got involved with Michael. Robson was discovered by Jackson when he was just 7 years old. He had won a dance competition which earned him an invitation to perform on stage with the King of Pop during his Bad tour. While Safechuck, who was around 9, met Michael on the set of a Pepsi commercial, he ended up going on tour with Michael during the same portion of the Bad tour that Robson was a part of. Both men detailed their budding relationships with Michael, starting off with regular phone conversations. Both spoke on his ability to make them feel special by spending hours getting to know them. The phone calls then turned to home visits, starting off at the Havenhurst house where Michael lived, and then evolving to visits at the boys' personal homes. Safechuck's mother specifically described seeing Michael as one of her sons and expressing her love for him. Michael would gradually increase the distance between the boys and their families. Once Michael would establish a close relationship with the boys, he would increase the distance between them and their families. He would allow the parents and siblings to go on tour with them, but he allegedly would put them on an entirely different hotel room floor from him and their sons. The same would go for sleepovers at Havenhurst and Neverland. Safechuck and Robson recalled that once they reached the part in the relationship where they would sleep in the same bed as Jackson, the rest of the family would sleep in a guest house. Michael would strategize to avoid getting caught. In Finding Neverland's first night, both Robson and Safechuck detailed the ways Michael would attempt to hide his alleged sexual abuse. They said that Michael would instill fear in them when he flat out would say that if they got caught, they would all go to jail. They also revealed that he had an elaborate system in place to avoid being discovered, such as having a hallway in Neverland that had bells set up to ring in case an unwanted witness was approaching. According to Safechuck and Robson, Michael also had them run drills, making them practice getting dressed quickly in case anybody walked in. Michael would find new boys all the time. And one of the more disturbing angles of the documentary was the way Robson and Safechuck describe how the love they had for Michael quickly turned into jealousy when he found another boy to give attention to. Robson specifically recounted moving to California from Australia in hopes to be closer to the industry and to Michael. He noticed when he came to the set for the Black or White video that child star Macaulay Culkin was right by Michael's side. Robson now believes that Michael did not like to mix relationships, and he recalls feeling jealous when another boy from Australia, Brett Barnes, was hanging around Michael in 1991. Michael's lawyers held mock interviews with the alleged victims. When Michael was accused of sexual abuse by Jordan Chandler, Michael's lawyers were prepping for any potential testimony or questioning. Robson and Safechuck were contacted and coached by Michael's team, who would play the roles of police officers and lawyers. It was there that they learned how to respond if evidence was found of what they were doing with Michael. Michael maintained regular communication when he needed to. As the docu-series went on for its second night, it became clear that Michael's pattern was to cut off communication with each boy when he was involved with another, but that changed when the Chandler trial was going on. Robson and Safechuck said that their communication with him would increase as the trial unfolded. Robson said Michael would call every day during the trial as well as whenever a new charge popped up. Michael played a weird role in their lives. Even as Robson and Safechuck described their abuse, it's apparent that their love for Michael clouded whatever horrors they went through with him. Their loyalty and disbelief that they were victims started to make some sense when they described their relationship with Michael. Not only did Robson say he was head over heels for Michael, but he also said that as a dancer and performer, he always strived for his approval. Safechuck also said that he felt Michael wanted him to depend on him. Michael supported his dreams of being a filmmaker by convincing him to skip school and funding many of Safechuck's short films. On top of that, Michael also bought the Safechucks a home. He had helped purchase the home by giving them a loan, and they would make payments back to him. Safechuck's mother says that around the time of his trial, he asked her to stop making the payments because it was a gift from him. Michael made Robson hide evidence. At one point, Robson revealed that during his last sexual encounter with Michael, he attempted to penetrate him. When it became too painful, Jackson stopped. However, after that encounter, Robson was summoned by Jackson to warn him to get rid of his underwear if it had any blood on it. Robson said that there was blood, and he proceeded to get rid of the evidence. Leaving Neverland's response. When the first night of Leaving Neverland aired, Michael Jackson's official Twitter conveniently released concert footage to the 1992 concert film Live in Bucharest, The Dangerous Tour. The film was made available on YouTube for a limited time and had a runtime of about 2 hours and 2 minutes, coincidentally the same length as part 1 of the controversial series. More concert footage was rolled out for the second night of Leaving Neverland as well. Ever since Leaving Neverland was premiered at Sundance, the Jackson estate has been publicly challenging the documentary, calling it a public lynching and a tabloid character assassination. They also filed a $100 million lawsuit against HBO, to which the film's director Dan Reed said came at no surprise. He made a statement saying, "I didn't characterize Jackson at all in the film. I think if you watch it, you'll have noticed that it's a story about these two families, and Jackson is an element of that story. They have a very precious asset to protect. Every time a song plays, a cash register goes ka-ching. It doesn't surprise me that they've come out fighting in defense of their asset." According to the New York Times, filmgoers who saw Leaving Neverland when it debuted at Sundance called it devastating, harrowing, and more disturbing than you can imagine. HBO's premiere garnered a similar response online, with fans split down the middle. Despite the Jackson estate suing HBO, the network released a statement saying, "Despite the desperate lengths taken to undermine the film, our plans remain unchanged. This will allow everyone the opportunity to assess the film and the claims in it for themselves." That being said, what are your guys' thoughts on Leaving Neverland? Sound off in the comment section below, and as always, keep it locked on Complex News on YouTube for more. For Complex News, I'm Natasha Martinez.